Hey everyone, this is Trovarsi here, and you are joining me on Signal. And this month I have Noise Code, and they're a techno duo. They're based in San Gabriel Valley, and they're known for their electrifying warehouse rhythms created with modular synths, analog machines, and they're bringing us their intersubjective interpretation of techno. So without further ado, let me bring them in. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome, Noise Code, aka AJ and John Rojas. How are y'all doing?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate you guys being here. So before we get into your live set, is there anything you want to say about it?
John?
You want to go first, AJ?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Well, the live set, as we showed you, there's a lot of lighting design with there. In the video, we worked with somebody named Astral Projections, and we wanted to stylize the video for you a little bit, and we feel that it matches the chaotic techno that we're giving you.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, well then let's get into it. And yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No, it was actually so fucking dope. And yeah, I guess we can cuss on this show. So yeah, no, it was amazing. Like the visuals, like I love the angles, the lighting, the music. I have so many questions for you. And also thanks for giving me some images too, just because I wanted to get into a little bit more of just a little bit of the tech side. I know that some people are just listening, so just to give them like a visual for those who are just listening to the audio of this, what were you using in your case? Because you had like John, I saw you with the Zone 96 and had some hardware. AJ, was it a modular case that you had next to you?
Mhm.
What's in the modular case?
So it's a combination of both of our stuff.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so we both started collecting a while back, and then when we built this box, we put our sequencers together and we put a couple of voices together, and then AJ just kind of stays in that space, and we have the element, the entity, the SSF entity, a couple of noise engineering modules, and then like an LFO or something.
Very
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
And then the hardware
Yeah.
side. What's on the hardware side?
For the drum
The
machines.
yeah, like for the yeah, exactly. Sorry.
So I use the circuit rhythm and the digitact on both left and right with the Zone 96 in the middle. And then I give myself an extra line by using the Erica Synth bassline standalone. And that's just for me to have some fun with, a voice. And we put that on channel 3, and then kind of we put a send and a return, which we use a Zen delay to kind of just have some fun with some delay elements that also go into the other aspects of the board. But that's just one of the voices that I independently use.
Very
Mhm.
cool. So just to kind of give like so I noticed as you said channel 3, so you're using the Zone 96. So AJ, while are you improvising, are you rewriting patterns or on the
Yeah.
modular, or are you okay.
Yeah, the sequences they'll change over time. There's two sequencers. We have the vector and we have the anti-culture precision disrupt. And with that box, it's a lot of improvisation. When I change, I like changing sequences on the vector because of all the different ways that you can change the sequences. On the disrupt, just moving those knobs and getting a different groove, getting a different melody. It's very easy on that sequencer. That's why I love that thing too. But the improvisation comes when like I keep my hands on other parameters, like so I can change things just a tiny bit as they go along, make it more interesting. When it comes to like writing melodies, I use the vector.
Okay.
It's much easier. Like there's much more detail that you can put into the notes that you're playing.
Gotcha. Yeah, because you can see actually what key or
Mhm.
scale and all that stuff you're playing in.
Mhm.
So on the other side of it, like when you said John with the circuit tracks and the digitact and that, is this something? Are you rewriting drum lines in that moment? Are you like more focused on the mixing aspect of all?
More of the mixing. Yeah. So I've been using the Digitech for a very long time, and so I developed a system just using mute mode, where all the kicks on track 1 are basically it's the same kick, and then throughout the 8 tracks that I get, I basically make a pattern and do 8 different patterns using the banks. But track 1 is typically the same kick, and then 2, 3, 4 is a variation of different, maybe 2 or 3 different kicks. And there's a hi-hat portion, which is 4 or 5. I give myself 2 synth lines, which would be 6 and 7, and then I use a sub on 8. So I know that whenever I'm switching in from any like pattern, I know that that same sequence is happening in different formats. So I just kind of like learn the sounds as I go and I practice, but they're typically the same thing. And then what kind of varies off and does basically a different thing is the Euro rack box.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this is my first interview, like interviewing a duo. So this is awesome because I like, first of all, I love you guys, and you guys played my in-person show and it was so good. You guys did the SoCal event. I think it was last year. So
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to having you on this show, and also so I could pepper you with some questions too that I'm sure other people want to
Cool.
know as they've had an
Yeah.
opportunity to watch the video and
Yeah.
listen.
Oh,
Right?
man.
Like, so I mean, as a duo, I see the synergy when you are playing together, like how you are vibing. It doesn't seem like you're doing a lot of talking, but am I just missing that? Do you guys have like codes, or is it more
Yeah.
just
I
We
don't know.
definitely
jazz
have to.
band where you're listening?
So I'll
Yeah.
say that like in the beginning, okay, so when we first started this project, we were definitely confused about how the system would be. And I think that's been a lot of like the growth between us is just like AJ and we work. I see him as like my partner in music. We do everything together. We play in a band together. We support each other musically. And like, so we've come to have our own language, which I think is very special and unique to us. But in
Very
building
cool.
noise code, we definitely had to figure out how to like calibrate a better system. And this current system with the Zone 96 is fairly fresh to us because we didn't do that before. We used to use a Presonus 16 channel because we didn't have a DJ mixer. And so that was its own system. And we were just, trying to figure out ourselves inside of these machines as well.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of listening going on. Sometimes there are cues that we do give each other, like a count all the way to the downbeat for a transition. Sometimes we just tap each other, but a lot of times we're using our ears. There's a jam aspect to it. And I think we both react to the tension that we both add to the track. There's a particular tension that we're actually like learning to pick up on each other, and actually we've gotten a lot better at it.
Nice. Yeah, you guys definitely I could definitely see the vibe, like watching you guys play together. I play in a duo, but it's a different dynamic because he lives in another state. So it's a very like a loose duo. So I understand the whole like reading each other, vibing, body language, little bit of your own language happening. But it's awesome that you guys actually live in the same area so you can take it. It'll feel like a little deeper. You know what I mean? A little more time. So do you guys have writing sessions, or do you write separately and then come together?
So I think before I answer that part of the question, I'll say that AJ and I are instrumentalists by trade. We've been in band culture for our entire life. So jamming kind of comes natural to us just because, you're playing a guitar or piano or drums or whatever. And so we had to like, I think we kind of brought that to this project. We're like, all right, well, how do we learn to jam with electronics and modules and drum machines? And I think naturally it's just kind of in our DNA that we're going to speak that language just because we are instrumentalists. But so that kind of helps us get into it. But can you remind me the second part of the question?
Oh, it was like, do you write separately then and come together, especially because you're using different, like do you
machines.
work on the Digitac, for example, and you're like, all right, I got some core drums. AJ, what can you do to this? Like, or
on our own, we do. No, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We do bring things together that we like worked on our own. However, our writing sessions are I go over to his studio. We go like just deep into just starting a new track. It's either starting fresh. I think our best collaborations were when we were right next to each other,
Yeah. I think
Nice.
also it's different from writing something like on the computer and doing something on Ableton versus doing something in the room. So if we're writing for a live set, that's has nothing to do with us being in the control room. That is like, oh, we set up the speakers, we get really loud. It's kind of like having a band practice with a big band.
Right.
And then if we're writing a song to make a track, to release a track, then we're like just sitting in chairs and doing stuff in the box, maybe touching a couple of modules, but that's a little bit more quiet, I guess.
Okay.
Quiet. Yeah.
So
less loud.
Yeah, less
loud.
So I guess with that, it's like, so my next question, because I know, John, you're a mixing mastering engineer, and coming from that side of it, and both of you being, live musicians, how do you feel about playing live? And then do you want to play your tracks that you've made, like, produced out, or is it just like, are you trying to keep them very separate? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Great
your live
question.
sets are your live sets, or are you trying to figure out a way to, as a live artist, I struggled with this. So I imagine like adding like
the big one,
the double, like,
Yeah.
adding another person to the equation. But yeah, so I'm curious.
Go for it, AJ.
Yeah, if this answers your question at all, like what I love is loving a song from any artist, any band, and you see them live, they play that song, and it's not exactly the same. I mean, I guess for I like it when like it's for sure the song that I love, but they play a different version of it, but it characteristically it is that song. I love that. I think when it comes to like our live sets, the music that we build from there are things that we take and bring over to our producing side, but I think a lot of it is separate. Like I think the system we build, we've been focusing on the system for building a live set to the point where I think it's like how John said, we're jamming, and we're kind of the improvisational aspect like does carry over to our productions a little bit, but I think they're a little separate. What would you think, John?
I think that like that's kind of the process of trying to figure out what the project, like how to intertwine both sides of the project, right? The live element versus the production and, writing music and releasing music, and how to integrate that. And I think there's a system within those two spaces where it's like, all right, what's the machine? Like, do I just use Ableton and then just use like a push pad, press play, and then modulate on top of whatever and make that like a different process? Or I just keep them separate. I think with my personal experience with Noise Code, it's just been, I feel like we'll get there when we get there kind of thing. And like, it's just, I want to get there where we can integrate a little bit of the stuff that we did in production on the computer and whatnot, and then integrate it into a live format. But I don't think we have found that right formula for that specific thing. So we basically have kept them separate, and plus time, that requires a lot of time to build that process, calibrate that process, make it streamline it. And sometimes, we don't have enough time. So we do what we can in the time that we have.
That makes sense. So what becomes more organic and natural for you.
Yeah.
So wait, so that brings me to like, cause it hasn't been super long. Like how long have you guys been playing together?
In Noise Code or
together, like Noise Code and Noise Code.
Like 2 years.
2 years, right?
Yeah, 2 years.
So it's like it's like using a lot of that to like learn to play together, develop a sound, and which leads me to my next question. Like, what would you guys categorize your techno as? Because I mean, I feel like it's like this ravey techno vibes. Like I don't want to say trance, because that's not it, but it's fast. Like there's so many new subgenres of techno. So so it's like, just curious, like what would you, if you had to categorize yourself, and I hate having to categorize, but at the same time, I'm curious. I want to know, what would you say?
Whatever the genre of hot mess falls into. You like that?
Yeah.
You guys are definitely not a hot mess.
It's like a chaotic. it's just like this mess, and then we're just like, okay, this mess is cool.
Yeah.
It's so hard to categorize yourself. I get it. Like, I don't even know what category
I don't
put
know
myself in personally. So that's why I was like, just curious, you know.
It's like that. It's like that meme. It's like, oh, this sounds like I'm losing my mind. All right, record it.
I feel like that's also been part of the process to figure out the voice and like find our identity within electronic music and what that means to us, intentionally speaking. And it's tough, you know, especially when you start using all these machines and you get really excited, and some of these machines are very chaotic, and I'm sure, you know, they're very sensitive. Like you touch one little thing and it goes butt wild. And so, yeah. So like at that point, it's almost as if we don't have control of the genre as well. Like it's just, where you just kind of,
especially if you're influenced by so many things, because
exactly
in punk bands, from punk to classically trained, you know, like so everything in between. It's just hard, to like really. And
then add the machines that do crazy things. You're just like, these machines. Sometimes you just don't have control over what the machine is going to do too, and you're just like, oh man, I got to dial back in, got to step it back.
Right.
I was thinking like, how am I going to make this machine express itself, and like what story, what kind of like concept is it telling the audience?
Right. It's like, are you playing it or is it playing you type of vibe? I always feel like that.
Exactly.
So just a little bit, just so for those that are just getting to know the two of you and listening in, just a little bit of your background as individuals. John, if you want to start.
Yeah. So I have been playing in bands since I was 15 years old, and I've been going to raves since I was 15 years old. So I participated a lot in the punk community. I started a DIY space back in 2010. It's called Bridgetown DIY, and it was in La Puente. We threw a lot of punk shows, and it was a great space. We did a lot for the community. I then started a band called Machine Kid a couple years later, and Machine Kid is, you know, it's my baby. I've started this project with kind of just hopes of like merging my love for electronic music and the chaos of punk, and put it into like one thing. And that led me down a rabbit hole of like learning everything about production and being a DIY artist and booking tours and doing the back end. And then eventually that led me to writing for a bunch of magazines, which I ended up liking because I liked, you know, writing about people's music and their creations. And then that led me to investing into more gear and opening a recording studio, which is my studio here in Orange, California, which is called Machine House Audio. And I get, you know, I have the privilege to work with a lot of bands and electronic artists, and so a little bit of all that. So I've always been kind of around the like underground scene and participating, but as an instrumentalist, you know, play a little bit of everything and, you know, do a little bit of everything, whatever I could do to help.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And how about you, AJ? I mean, I know that you can rip it on the piano, but give us give us some more. Give us a.
So like, yeah. So if I were to meet somebody and they want to know anything about me, it's like my favorite thing to ever happen is if I go somewhere, if I go to a party and I'm allowed to have a microphone. Like if I can connect to the system in any way whatsoever, that's the best situation. Because I grew up with a huge family. I was like, as a little kid, I was already singing karaoke. I'm like a singer at heart. I'm like
cool.
It's the reason why I was that guy in high school that brought his guitar to school every day. Like I was just like singing sappy songs. I was like, "Hey, here's Coldplay on piano," and I started.
Love it. I was addicted to ballads too, so you're not alone.
Filipinos and ballads or something. Like, and so I started playing clarinet. So I learned treble. I learned how to read treble clef starting fourth grade, and I moved to bass clarinet and I learned bass clef. So I already had the grand staff. I could already identify the notes, and you know, sight reading is a huge monster. but when, reading it enough times, it's literally like reading a sentence, and it gets easier as it goes along. It's not easy at any particular point. You have to be focused. I feel like when I'm learning a song, I'm getting close to like meditative. Like if somebody taps me on the shoulder, it's happened many times. Like I'll get scared because when I'm learning a song, I'm just so into it. But like in high school, I moved to marching band. There was the marching band came to my middle school, and there was like a punker girl with like her head shaved who's playing in baritone, and I was like, I think I'm gonna play baritone now. And I learned trombone, and I learned trombone, and I was in jazz band. I didn't go into DCI or marching, anything like that, but marching was a gigantic part of like my musical upbringing, because every morning 7:30 a.m. we had a click and we marched, like just marching a block, like a click off of a loudspeaker every morning. And marching was a huge reason why I'm a good musician. Like I learned how to be a champion when I was in marching band, still high school, but like it is high school. Discipline. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So after high school, I actually I started falling in love with Dave Brubeck and Bill Evans. And I was like, jazz piano is on another level. Like I already know how to read this. Why don't I try to buy some of these books? There's a Japanese piano player named Hiromi Uehara, and I learned one of her songs, Place to Be, and everything is history, because it was the single most, not complicated, maybe not there's a better word for it, but sophisticated piano piece that I'd ever learned. And that brought me into the music tech space. I always tell everybody what brought me to music technology is an extension of my piano playing. And that's always what I said. My main was Ableton. I started on that. I literally gave up gaming, and it was replaced by Ableton, and I'm grateful for that. With what brought me to Noise Code was the types of music that I was already making as my solo artist, Inja. And I was making, just like electronic stuff. Like I like Chemical Brothers, but I really love techno, and I really love the chaos and energy, and just the scene of techno being out there, and everything.
Like
the whole vibe.
Yeah.
The whole vibe, and everyone I've met in this scene, this LA scene, has been very, very cool with me.
Nice. Well, thank you both for sharing that, because I knew obviously bits and pieces. I know AJ, you and I, we work together, and so I've gotten to know you and in other ways. And so it's just, it's like, it's always so cool to do these interviews, because even though I get to sometimes see some artists, including you guys, like on a semi-regular basis, even, it's just nice to have these conversations and get a fuller perspective of who you both are. So thanks for sharing.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely.
I did have another question for you. So I know you were talking about releases. Do you have anything that you're working on, or you think you're going to be putting out soon as we move into the new year? Or
we were working on something on Saturday, and we got very far, and we're very excited about it. And it was we didn't expect to write anything, and we just, 8 hours later came up with something.
Our system, like the method and our system for writing songs is actually it's getting a lot better. So we spoke about it on Saturday that we're going to work on creating a full body of work, maybe I don't know. We didn't talk about concepts or anything, but we knew that there's a lot we have to say, and we have the gear for it now. We're going to release a lot of music.
Excellent. So we have a lot to look forward to coming from you all in the new year as we kick off 2026, right?
Right.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you both for coming on to the show. And I look forward to hearing your new stuff coming out and seeing you guys play live again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Shonda.
Yeah, thank you, Shonda. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.